In a small room, when you're with a small group of people, your story doesn't need to be long. It just needs to be real.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Hey, everybody. So, we have been on this journey right now on speaking about leaving an impression in smaller groups. Sometimes when we're in smaller groups, we shun away, we fall back a little bit, as I stated in an episode or two ago. And in that, I realized how much, because even I had to reflect on how much I might have fallen back in those settings, because I felt as though I could not contribute effectively to that group. And now, here's a situation that I'm going to share with you that I've had to learn. So if I'm sitting in a group and let's say it's 5 people, we'll stick with the number 5, and everyone is laughing and joking or whatever it is, and you want to contribute, do you have a story that reveals your values or your experiences that can connect with people in that setting? See, a lot of times we don't know what that story is. Sometimes we're just so caught up in wanting to contribute that we don't understand that if it's really going to connect with the group. It doesn't have to be the full group, maybe just one person. Now, I remember, again, in my social awkward stage, I was not able to offer what I consider now valuable nor emotional information to the conversation. And sometimes you could tell when it doesn't hit right, because people are now turning their head. They're like, ha, 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 and move on. Some of us have probably dealt with that yesterday. But don't worry about that, right? You keep moving forward. You keep practicing. But when you take a look at your true experiences and how you have dealt with situations and people and your trips, your work experiences, your other type of conversations, your relationships, interpersonal, family, friends, co-workers, whatever it is, I guarantee that you have a story that can fit any situation. But a lot of times, we don't feel as though we're confident in telling it. So, my thought is to be real about it. See, a lot of times we want to tell a story and add a little yeast to it so it could grow up a little bit, right? Sometimes we want to tell a story that's just a little bit off, a little more interesting to feel as though that we can be relatable in the conversation, but sometimes you have the mind readers that can really tell whether or not your story is true or not. So your story can still feel flat. Now, some of us, are great storytellers, and we can make a story and make people laugh and joke and all that type of stuff. And people can say, hey, yeah, you know what? That is a great thing. And here's what happened. Again, a personal situation. You tell somebody something. Now, what happens when that person revisited that conversation 2 years later? And because it was not real, you don't remember it 100%. Or now you're trying to recollect, you're trying to fall back on that information. And now you can't tell it the way you did before because that person remembers it. Maybe not 100% verbatim, but we never know the true mindset of an individual and how much they might have looked up to you. And now they're like, hey, well, I remember when you told us this story. And you're like, oh, yeah, I remember. And you don't remember a doggone thing. And now you can't tell it effectively. Or you're missing some things out because we don't know in that story that you told how it might have affected that person. Now they're like, hey, let's go out and get it and let's sell, whatever it is. And now you can't retell it because they're looking for something else. And you're like, you're falling flat. So my request is that we make sure that whatever we say and whatever we do is real. That is real. People ask me, Maurice, well, how come your podcast show is no longer than, 10, 15 minutes? I said, because there's no reason for me to be that long. Let's get right to the point. We could talk about being real, and we could come from it a billion different ways, right? Which can now have the show become a half an hour to an hour, and you're hearing the same information. I'm pounding it down your throat, all those type of things. And some people may enjoy that. Some people may need that reassurance, but I have to be real with myself. Sometimes it doesn't work for me. And those of you who are listening faithfully, evidently it doesn't work for you either. You're like, hey, let me get this little tidbit in. Let me be reminded about this real quick, and let me keep it moving. Let me keep it pushing. So for those of you who wants to tell a story, keep it real. But make sure that you in that realness, that it is relatable and memorable. See, as you're having a conversation with these individuals, let's make sure that is also well placed, because sometimes we can miss the mark. Sometimes we can miss the cue. Sometimes we miss the opportunity to put a very well placed story into the situation. Because again, as I had said something before about, we're always looking to, well, not always, but some of us are looking to respond and not to understand. So in our place to respond, we want to tell a story because we want to be seen and all those type of things. But it could miss the mark. So make sure that as you're listening, actively listening, that when you tell the story back, that it is well placed within the conversation, which now makes you relatable and memorable. And here's the reason why you want to make sure that happens. Because now you're actively creating a bridge between you and the listener. And as you're creating that bridge, now it opens up other opportunities between you and them. Podcasting has helped me to bridge the gap in communication I might have had over the years. So, what are you doing to help bridge the gap between you and your listener?
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?